Hello everyone, today I'm here to do a tag video that I have done before, but plot twist, it's actually a tag that I've created, so that's pretty cool. So 3 years ago, might be 4 years ago now, I created a tag called the New Year's book tag, all designed around, of course, the New Year's. I have yet to do that tag again, so I'm like, I should redo my own tag. There's no rules against that. I created the tag. Let's do it again. So we're going to do it again in hopes of talking about all things 2022 with our reading goals and things like that. So let's get into it. I'll link my original tag video down below. So first up is, how many books are you planning to read in 2022? For this one, I'm gonna stick with my generic answer, 50. 50 is my answer. I hopefully surpass it every year. It's just kind of a baseline goal for me. I think if I put it to 100, I would just stress out immensely so. So 50 is just a standard kind of, hopefully I'll read more. If not, 50 is usually just kind of my baseline. So that's what I'm sticking with. I've done that for years. Question number 2 is, name 5 books that you didn't get around to this year but want to make a priority in 2022. Oh, I did not prepare for this tag video at all. Let's think about it. Number 1 right off the bat, Makeup Breakup by Lily Menon. I have yet to read that. Should have read that this year. Number 2, The Passengers by John Mars. Another one I meant to read that this year. Didn't get around to it. Next comes Like by Alicia Rai. I still have yet to read that. I need to read that. How many books is that? 3? Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Oh, Where the Crawdads Sing by, I forget the author's name, is one that I've been wanting to read for forever. I want to make that a priority in 2022. And then the last, trying to think. I can't think of one. I am horrible. Maybe The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. So it's a thriller book I've heard a lot about that I need to read. So there's 5 books. Like my TBR cart is freaking full and I need to read more, but there's kind of like a off the top of my head answer. 3 is, what genre do you want to read more from? I primarily read a lot of romance now. Like back in the day, probably when I filmed this video, it was like YA mostly, and I probably said adult, but I read mostly adult now. I would say 80% of my reading is adult books. So for me, I would say a genre I would want to read more of is literary fiction. I don't read nearly enough of it, and I think the reason is for that is because usually literary fiction is very hard-hitting and kind of sad, and it takes me a lot to read a sad book. When I watch a sad show or a sad movie, it really gets to me. I know that's weird, but it really truly does. Like if I rewatch Parenthood, one of my favorite shows, like I get sad because it's such a sad freaking show. Or like This Is Us. That's why I had to quit watching it, because it was just so sad. So for literary fiction, a lot of their books are kind of on the sadder side, and it just really affects me a lot. But I want to read more of them because yes, it's sadder and affects me a lot, but they're more impactful and they're more just beautiful stories. So I want to make that a priority in 2022 to read more literary fiction, to, embrace the sadness. It's okay to be sad. We all are sad. It happens. It's not fun to feel sad, but it happens. Next up is, name 3 non-related goals you have for 2022. Oh my gosh. Let's see. 3 goals. Number 1 is to start saving for a house. We just bought this house a while ago, but then we weren't having to plan it. Then we weren't planning to have a second kid, and we did. We decided to have a second child, which is awesome. But this house is great if you have 1 child, but 2 kids, it's a little small. So we want something a tiny bit bigger. We don't ever want a mansion because that's not us, but maybe, and we want to be on a better street, because we're the street we're on now. It's not the best street to raise kids for sure. Like the busyness of it, by the way, the neighborhood's great. Just the busyness of the street, especially for a special needs kid. It's just kind of scary, but that's a goal, is to save more for, hopefully investing in a new house soon. Another goal is to just take time to like really embrace life, to be off my phone more. I've noticed that I am on my phone a lot, and I don't want my children to see that, because I don't want them one day, if they're like, paint a picture of your mom, and it's just going to be me with the phone in my hand. I don't want that. That's not how I want to be portrayed, and that's not how I want to be. So I want to be more involved in my own life and in my children's life. So I want to put the phone down more, take social media breaks, just put it away, because there's more to life than my phone. I'm one of the last generations that had childhood and young adulthood without phones and things like that. They started coming up pretty prevalent when I was a senior in high school. That's when computers and stuff and AOL got big. But for me, like, I grew up with none of that. Like, I grew up with blockbusters and having to play outside a lot, and, you know, not having this at the tip of my hands, things like that, and which I really enjoyed. So I need to, like, be more about that. And I did that before, this came about, so I could do it again. So I know that's kind of weird, but that's truly one of my goals, is to be more, like, focused and be more attentive to the world around me and to my family. And my other goal is to just get back into the groove of things. I know that's super stupid, but I just had my second child like 4 months ago, and it takes a while to get back in the groove. Even when I had my first son, Noah, it took me even longer, I think, because I dealt with a lot of postpartum depression. And this time around, I haven't, thank the Lord. But it's taken me a while to, like, get more back into socially with church and things like that, because managing 2 kids, especially with one with special needs, is a lot. So that's one thing I would like to do, is just to kind of get back in the flow with having more of a social life, which is hard already with kids. But just, doing more, I guess you could say. So those are 3 non-bookish goals that I really have. What's a book you've had forever that you still need to read? This one I really don't know. I am a big fan of, like, if a book has been on my shelf for like more than 2 years, like, that's I haven't read, it's gonna go, because obviously I'm not making it a priority. So I don't know. The one I could think of, like I said, is the Where the Crawdads Sing. I feel like it's been on my shelf for quite some time that I still have yet to touch. So maybe that one, but I really can't think of one that's been on my shelf for like forever that I just still have not read yet, because like I said, I'm pretty good at rotating out books, because I guess I'm cutthroat like that. I don't know. Next up is one word that you're hoping 2022 will be. Restful. I don't get any sleep. Noah was a great sleeper. He wasn't a great sleeper, but he was a lot better than Autumn. Autumn is not a good sleeper, so I'm really hoping that she gets in her stride and things like that. So I'm really hoping 2022 will become more restful, because I need some rest in my life. I know that's a lot to ask for a parent. I shouldn't be complaining at all, but it's okay to ask for rest. It's okay. So that's my whole word for 2022, is restful. And maybe also embrace. I will embrace the rest. I don't know. And the last one is to tag a friend. This tag has been around for years, so if you haven't already done it, if it's your first time seeing it, feel free to do it. It's a great way to kick off the new year, to think about things you've done in the past year, to think about the year ahead. 2022 is literally right around the corner. I can't believe it, but here we are. Either way, I hope you enjoyed my revisit of my own very tag. It's the only tag I've made, so I'm very proud of it. It's like my little baby. But either way, I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching. Bye.